I had this opportunity to do a collab, my very first collab, with this amazing woman who's a fellow YouTuber that lives in the same area that I do. The reason for the collab is that she recently put out a video, and I have it linked below, discussing whether she wanted to race next year or not. She started doing some races at the latter half of this past season, and she got bit by the race bug. Her only qualm is that she doesn't have any other women locally that she can race and train with. She received a lot of comments since she put out that video, not only on YouTube, but her Facebook page and through private messaging. And some of them had some very interesting suggestions. I wanted to get together with her, not only to have her join me on one of my solo rides where I'm tired of riding solo, but to discuss with her what she's decided, if anything. You may notice during the video an odd camera angle or movement where you wouldn't expect it. That's because I don't have anybody filming us. It's just me holding the camera or placing it on something and hopefully that it's pointing in the right direction. There was so much content that I didn't want to edit out that I'm turning this into a two-parter, and you're going to be seeing the first part today. I hope you enjoy this and leave comments because I do want to hear from you. Here we go.
So you can almost like tell like how people, like what their background is by what they actually took out of that video.
Oh, talk about that. Okay.
Like a lot of like the people you could tell were just like coaches were immediately like, well, we're just gonna get you on like a training plan. I'm like,
oh yeah.
I'm like, yeah, okay, like yes, that's part of the video, but that, like that's not the bigger, right? Like that's not the.
But of course, I'm not going to do that. Okay,
well,
go
no,
ahead.
but like, of course, it's part of the program, right? But it's
Right.
not the broader question that I'm really trying to get at.
Right, exactly.
Right? Like the broader question is like, how do we get more women into this? So that it's not a case of like, hey, one woman at a time, we're trying to rope in.
Right. So I was thinking about when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about, okay, what do I title this video? And so one thing I came up with is, let's see, what was it? How to start a women's team when there's no women around.
But see, okay.
Okay, go ahead.
Here might be the key point of that. I'm not really convinced that starting the team is the way to go.
Because you've got a lot of examples.
As soon as you say team to women who don't have any experience with racing or cycling, they immediately go, like here I gotta commit, I gotta make this a big, huge thing, just to even decide if I want to race or want to try racing, right? Like I feel like that's a big hindrance point for a lot of these women.
Now you received a lot of suggestions of a lot of different things through your, everywhere. It blew up on you, which was actually real cool. Which ones?
Really cool. Some of it is not so nice. Let's just be clear.
What stood out to you? What are you gravitating toward? That's what I want. What are you gravitating toward?
Personally, or in the overall larger question we were talking about?
Personally, well, both.
I'm gonna race. You know, I'm gonna race because I've managed to talk a few other women into giving it a try. And so, if for no other reason than supporting that and, you know, putting my money where my mouth is, you know, we'll definitely race a couple of those early seasons and those kind of clinicky,
right, the local stuff that's near here, like within an hour or so.
Yeah, I'm not driving 8 hours for anybody right now, but But yeah, I feel like there's enough kind of local stuff that we could get them into, and a lot of those kind of early bird, different styles, crits or road race, or to try stuff out.
So are you okay? So then, are you racing as you just bring a uniform and race in the cat pods?
Unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated.
I have no problem being unaffiliated. I'm not trying to put down teams in any way. I think they're awesome. I think they're perfect for structure. I think that, but for me, there's a missing step in there, right? And that's what my little. So again, I come from triathlon, right?
Right.
So for me, as soon as you say racing, my little squirrel brain thinks crashing crits. And the conversation was over before it started because that's what goes through my brain. And that's true of a lot of the women I talk to. Like,
I don't need to mention my collarbone right now.
That's all right. Right.
Yes.
Let's not even talk. Let's talk about some road rash I got going here too. There's a nice, beautiful.
Oh, I saw that earlier. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so that I feel like that. I mean, it's almost the conversation stopper for a lot of women who ride hard and are strong women and could be talked into something like road racing, and I think would totally enjoy it. But their conception when you say race and bikes together is there, like, right? It's already this kind of barrier. So for me, it's more about like, how do we get past that initial barrier to get them to the first race, to get them to at least try or open their mind a little bit to it, so that then those women that try it, you can start putting them into teams and structure and, you know what I mean, kind of build it in from there.
Okay.
But I do feel like that there's this kind of forgotten pool of women, because we are so widespread, that ride hard and that are strong riders, but for whatever reason, they're in their own little bubbles, they're in their own little niches, and they just don't get into this broader idea of like riding with other women as a pack. Almost every woman I've talked to has been like stoked on the idea of like, yeah, I'd love to ride with more women. I'd love to see more like women's kind of stuff happen. But it's that thing of like herding cats too, right? Trying to get everybody in the same place to commit to, okay, Wednesdays don't work for me, but I can go Thursday. Oh, Thursday don't work for me, but you know, the inevitable cycling mashup. But yeah.
So, okay, so I think I mentioned in a text once or something to you that I had a women's team for a couple of years, like a women's squad on OTF.
Yes.
And the women there, Vicky was one of the strongest ones. There was also Lisa and some others that you may know. And they were basically, I'd say, in the middle age range.
Yes.
And they had a lot of experience cycling, and so they wanted to try something new.
Right.
And it was, I even had a women's director, which is pretty cool. And so that lasted for about 2 years. It was in the GOT racing end, and so that was basically all I asked for, to see if anybody would really like it and keep up with it.
Right.
And maybe the strongest one that would have kept up more, only if she had other people to race with, was Vicky.
Yes, who's actually interested in racing again now.
Ah, okay.
So she's committed. She said she'll race with me
She's
and
like
come
a
out, and she's a beast.
Yeah.
But again, it was kind of the same thing. So she joined another team wanting to race,
Pinnacle.
but that team has not really been racing.
Yeah, they've been doing more
So-
triathlons and stuff, and maybe more towards
Yeah,
social
so
end.
she kind of is, you know, on that fence of like wants to race, but hasn't really just had the support of the build to do it.
Okay, so the first sounds
so,
like
so that came back around. So at least what I mean, like at least the seed was planted there originally. Like she's still interested. She's still like definitely somebody I would want to, you know, rope in to a group. But
so it sounds like the plan is just to just to get them out there to race,
yes,
and then see if there's a true base there that will wants to continue. And then you'll talk about teams in whatever form, whether it's when you form here
Right.
or attach something like with Revs.
I mean, we'll have the discussion about teams. You know, I mean, teams are of course an integral part. We'll talk about that, you know, regardless.
Right.
But I feel like, you know, again, if you are not into the cycling world, if you have never been to a crit, you've never seen a road race, you know, your only conception of cycling racing is like the Tour de France or one of those like huge stage races, right?
Right.
If that's your conception of racing, then like, you know, there really is kind of a barrier there where you don't even know what you don't know, and so
Yes.
people tend to kind of, I feel like a lot of people kind of write it off as like, oh, well, that would never be me, without ever really understanding what they're talking about.
Okay, very cool.
So that's what I mean about it. I feel like there's just this lower level tier where like if you could just get the knowledge base back out that, you know, women especially have been getting more into cycling. There's a lot of middle-aged women, I count myself in that group, you know, with more disposable income and more interest in doing things like this,
Right.
that can commit that kind of, you know, time and ability. But again, you have to get over that barrier of, you know, I don't want to train 6 months or join a team or make this big commitment for something I don't even know if I want to do, right?
Yep.
So like how do you, that's what I mean about the team thing is kind of, it's a push-pull.
Something you can worry about later on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's like you should be, you know, aware of it for sure. But is it you have to join a team to race? Like, no, of course you
No.
don't. Does it help? Sure. But to get you into it and to get you to see what's actually going on, like, whatever it takes to get more women in, we
Yeah.
have to drag them in unaffiliated. I'm fine with that. Like, however we can get them in there, I think that's the pursuit.
So we just started talking. So, hey cycling community, this is Steve Grustis of Cycling Greek, and this is Cat 5 Racing. Our YouTube channel is Cat 5 Racing. You have another social media where you're catatonic or something.
I'm catatonic on Strava. And,
Okay.
yeah, so.
But the cool thing is, what's the word? I'm gonna have to edit this part out as I'm thinking about the word. Don't tell
That's
me.
right, I
Don't,
just-
the word is.
My heritage.
Heritage. Yeah,
It's
heritage.
my Italian heritage. It's the Italians and the Greeks today.
Yes, she's just across, heritage-wise, I can't think of the right word, she's just across the ocean from me. So yes, Italian and Greek riding today. And we're going to do a CG workout, and we'll be talking about that in a bit.